Hey everyone, welcome back to the workshop. Today we're going to talk about the big orange elephant in the room. Okay, the story begins promptly. Morning of July 12th was the second flight of the Taylorcraft. Now, some very dear friends of mine, I haven't seen in 5 years, flew out from California because there was a family wedding they had to go to. So they came on out and stopped down at the field because with Tim, I flew with him years ago. We used to do the Warbirds in Formation. And so we had many years of just, having a good time flying. And when they arrived, I was in the middle of assembling the plane, putting it all together. And so they came on over and started talking, and probably 5 minutes led into a half hour. And I mean, this is all on me. I'd never finished putting the plane together. I thought it was complete. So then we got it out into the field. Went ahead and started it up. So we had a couple of video cameras. I had his wife Karen was using my GoPro that I inadvertently set it up wrong for. I left it on photo settings, so we got no video of that. But a good friend of mine, Greg Camus, had his camera, so he got pretty much three videos that were usable. So you'll see those too. But anyway, we fired the plane up and took off. And as I was flying the plane, every time I came out of a turn, I had to make a slight little tweak to the ailerons because it was doing some goofy stuff. Now, granted, this is a 35-pound airplane, so with the fully loaded fuel on it, it was about 37 pounds. It didn't make much never mind to me because I didn't know, because we had a crosswind. It was about a 10-mile-an-hour crosswind, so it was, I'm flying 90 degrees to the crosswind, so I figured it could just be dirty air. And even with it being a heavy plane, you're still going to notice differences to the way the plane's flying when you're crosswind, and especially if it's bouncy, dirty air up top. So it didn't seem to bother me at all. So and you'll see by the end of the video, it was a beautiful landing. I love that landing. That was the best landing I've had in a long time, and so I was proud of that. But as we were pulling the plane back, Tim looked at me and he goes, "It sounds like something's loose." And I thought it was a typical tire on the axle because they're spinning a little bit loose on the axle, and that's the noise it kind of makes. I need to snug those up a little bit. So that's what I thought it was as he was pulling it backwards across the field. But we got the plane back, went to sitting down talking, ended up flying the little Taylorcraft, which I don't know if I've got video on. I don't think I do. But anyway, so when it came time to break the plane down, I discovered something that I completely forgot to put. I was breaking the plane down. I discovered that there was one critical piece of fastening that I never put on. I never put on the little bolts for the wing struts because that's what's carrying the load of the plane, are those wing struts. So, and I don't know how well I can get you zoomed in. We'll give it a shot. So when the plane in flight, as it was going up and down, you can see there was nothing holding this wing on. And you might say to me, "Hey bud, don't you have a wing tube that already goes through there?" And I would say, no, I don't. What I did, and if you guys had watched how I built this plane, I had to restructure the wing on the root rib, had to change the root rib on it because this had screws coming up from the bottom through the actual wing tube. And the wing tube wasn't that long. It was just enough to keep the wings so that they were somewhat firmly mounted against the plane for the root rib. But I didn't like the way that was because it allows a certain amount of play. So that's how I changed the whole system. So everything was changed on the inside of the wing for the attachment points and also for the wing strut. It ended up, what we did is we modified the tubes because the wing struts were originally 70-75 aluminum rod that was slightly machined down. Now what I had some carbon fiber tube that was close enough to the size of the plane that we were able to expand the size of the holes and use the carbon fiber tube. So what we did is Greg, the guy who took the video, he's got a CNC shop. So what he did was he machined down the aluminum rod to aluminum tubing, and the wall thickness was 80 thousandths of an inch. All I needed that for was to keep the wings from rotating. So that's all that they were for. They were just kind of locating pins. So what's holding the wings onto the plane are 4 quarter 20 bolts. So somehow this plane, sorry, we got rain coming again. So anyway, this plane taking off at about 37 pounds, flying for 10 minutes, doing 2 rolls, and I even did a hammerhead stall and came out of it at the bottom of it, and those wings stayed on with there's no damage to the wings, no damage to the plane, but they should have failed. And we sat down and we discussed what we thought it was, and nobody can come to the conclusion on what saved it. Personally, I'd like to say that, being a non-religious person, I got the structure right. If I was religious, I'd have to say, therefore, but the grace of God, go I. Because, you know, it's like somebody going to the gallows and having the rope break instead of doing its job. So anyway, let me take the wing off and show you what was holding that thing together. Alright, so if you wanted to get a better look on what held that wing on, this is all that it is. This is the carbon fiber tube with the 7075 aluminum. Like I said, I think it's an 80 thousandths of an inch. These are machined down, epoxied in place. So this goes through the wing. So these are just anti-rotation. They really don't do much to hold the wing on. And these 2 quarter 20 bolts. That's difficult. $10 battery took me out.
"24 hours later."